Hi, this is Math 6. We'll start Topic 6 in this video. Topic 6 has overall 6 lessons total. In this topic, understanding and use percent, we're going to think about what is the meaning of percent and how can percent be estimated and found. So the big topic vocabulary is percent. Okay, so before we start our topic, let's go to get ready. This is page 343 and see if we can review the vocabularies and the math skills that we learned before. Okay, so first, look at vocabulary. Choose the best term for the box to complete each definition. We got decimal, fraction, ratio, and term. So number 1, a blank can be written as x to y, x dot dot y, or x over y. Which examples are we looking at? Is it decimal, fraction, ratio, or term? It is a ratio, right? Ratio could be written in multiple forms. Okay, so that's fraction, and these are all ratios. And term is when you have variables or numerical values separated by addition and subtraction, right? Yeah, let's go to number 2. Okay. Number 2. The number 2.25 is a decimal. Yes. All right. What about number 3? A number that can be used to describe a part of the whole. Part and a whole describes the fraction. Okay. So make sure you know the vocabularies because these are important. Let's look at rates, decimal computations, equivalent ratios. See if you can fill in the blanks and solve for the answers by yourself and come back when you're ready for answers. Okay, are we ready? Look at rates, write an equivalent rate. 60 miles over an hour is equivalent to blank miles over 5 hours. How do you write equivalent rates? Determine whether you multiply or divide the first term to get the second term in the given rate, and then multiply or divide the known term, whatever term you multiplied and divided, in the other rate here, by the same number to find the unknown term and make the rates equivalent, right? So in order for 1 to become 5, we multiply 5. So we're gonna do the same thing because multiplying the same number doesn't change the rate and they're gonna be equivalent ratios. So 60 times 5 is 300 miles, okay? So number 5. 8 to 28, you multiply 3.5, right? And so from 2 to blank, you want to also multiply 3.5. 3.5 times 2 is 7 days. So 8 hours per 2 days would be equivalent to 28 hours in 7 days in a week. Number 6, 16 limes over blank bags is equal to 40 limes over 5 bags. So from we want to know how to get from 5 to this blank, right? So from 40 to 16, what did you do? What's 40 divided by 16? 2.5 again. Not again, 2.5, it's decimals again, right? So you divide by 2.5 to get 16. So 5 divided by 2.5 is 2. 2 times 2.5 is 5, if you think backwards, okay? Number 7, blank cups is equivalent to 24 cups over 4 boxes, right? So from 4 to 5, what do? What's 4 over 5? 0. That's 9, sorry. So 4 to 9, what happened? You multiply, how much? 2.25. So you multiply 24 by 2.25 to get 54 cups. Okay, in the same way, number 8, 3 to 15, multiply 5, right? So from something to 135, you have to multiply 5. Or 135 divided by 5 is 27, okay? If you go backwards, that's divided by 5. And so 135 divided by 5 is 27. All right, 9 to 36, you multiply 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. All right, so here are our answers. What about decimal computation? Did you get all the rates right? Okay, if you didn't, you should look for your mistakes and practice more. Let's move on to decimal computation. Find each product or quotient. See if you can divide and multiply them accurately, okay? How do you know where the decimal points in the product when you multiply decimals? You count the total number of decimal places in the factors when you multiply them. What about division? Place a decimal point directly above the decimal point in the dividend when you divide. So 21 divided by 0.05. You're gonna move the decimal point 2 places to the right for both of them so that 5 is a whole number for you. Okay, so you're dividing 2100 by 5, which is going to be the same answer for 21 divided by 0.05. Okay, so because they're equivalent ratios, right? 21 divided by 0.05 is equivalent to if you multiply 100 to both of them, right? So then you start with the hundredths place. And so 5 times 4 is 20. And you subtract them. 5 times 2 is 10. So it's 0 here. So your answer is 420 for number 10. And let's just check answers. Number 11 is 22.5. Number 12 is 8.5. Number 13, 93.75. 14, 0.04. 15, 0.025. See if you got all of them correct. If you missed some digits, then go back and look at your steps and see where you made the mistake and correct them, okay? Equivalent ratios, right? 3 equivalent ratios for each ratio. So you could multiply them or divide them by the same number to find equivalent ratios, right? So you can have different answers from what I have, but I'm gonna divide 8 by 4, 12 by 4 to get 2 over 3. And I'm going to divide them by 2 to get 4 over 6. I'm going to multiply them by 2 to get 16 over 24. Okay? If you got something else, like 8 times 3 is 24 over 12 times 3 is 36. And if you have other ratios, but you multiplied or divided by the same number, it should be correct. Okay? But I'm just going to give you some examples of answers. So 15 over 35, if you divide both of them by 5, you get 3 over 7. If you divide both of them, or if you multiply both of them by 2, you get 30 over 70. If you multiply 3 over 7 by 2, then you get 6 over 14. Okay? If you multiply 3 over 7 by 3, you get 9 over 21. And so on. Okay? Number 18, 5 over 8, 10 over 16, 60 over 96 are some examples of equivalent ratios. You can also have 15 over 24. Okay, or 90 over 146. Wait, 144. Yeah. Okay. And so on. So number 19, what are 2 ways to find equivalent ratio for 10 over 25? What did you do? So how did you find equivalent ratios in numbers 16, 17, and 18? You could multiply both terms by the same number, or you could divide both terms by the same number. I'm gonna give some examples. So for example, you multiply 3 over 7 by 2 to get 6 over 14, right? In number 17. What about dividing? You multiply 30, you divided 30 over 48 with the same number, 2. If you divide both of them by 2, you get 15 over 24, right? And they're equivalent ratios. All right, so that was a review. If you ever felt like, oh, I forgot how to do this, you should go back and practice the skills that we need for this topic, okay? These are the things that we've learned already. And we're gonna learn new things related to the skills. So go back if you need more practice. Okay. So looking at the next page, we have a percent. What are things related to percents? So you can use the first circle for writing key phrases. And then second circle with sentences using percents. And then third circle, you can illustrate how to describe percent. And then fourth circle, you can write examples. Okay. So what are percents? What are some phrases that you could describe percentages? Part of the whole. Okay. And you can also use rates. Okay. What about some sentences related to percents? You can find percent of what? When do you use percentages? Your students, right? So you probably look at test scores or quiz scores to compare how well you did compared to your goal, right? Your goal is probably 100%, or if you have less, like lower goals, that's fine. But you know, if your goal is 100% and you got 99%, you're pretty close to your goal, right? And yeah, so that's an example. We could also use that in the example here. Test scores. How can we write sentences using that? I got 100% on my math test. It means you got nothing wrong. I got nothing wrong. Okay. Illustration, percentages. You can illustrate by using the circle, right? If this is 100%, half of it would be 50%. And then if you divide the other half by half again, you get 25%. And then you can divide this into half again, and you get 12.5%. And so on, right? But altogether, they should add up to 100%, okay? Or you can illustrate using bar graphs where you say, oh, this is 100%, and that's about 30%. And then, yeah, and that's 70%, and so on, okay? Examples, what are other examples other than test scores? You can also see it in probabilities. Probabilities, like in weather conditions, how much chance do you have for rain? You know, maybe 50 chance for rain, 60 chance for rain, 90 chance for rain. So the higher the number is, the more likely your event is going to be. Okay. And what else? You can measure how much something is in something. Like if you have a water bottle, you can say, oh, I only have 10%, or your phone battery, right? Your battery is in terms of percentage. If you only have 10% left, then you probably have to start looking for chargers, right? Or laptop, phone or a laptop batteries. Okay, so these are some examples. Okay, so you'll also look at some projects related to topic 6. There are 4 different types of projects you can choose from, and they're all very interesting. So look into that. All right, that was the intro for the topic. Let's look at the first lesson in the next video.